can't get away with posting anything, like if it's boring, it's going to do bad. So I think.
So what's your approach for topics then? Yes.
Yeah. I mean, we go through that in the course over here, the Leads by Mike. But in reality, the topic is probably the absolute most important thing. That's where we start. We start with what is interesting, what could people like to hear about, how can we provide some value to that topic or that idea, and those things come in my head in all sorts of different ways. It could be because I got a phone call from a friend asking me something, or I see something online, a story comes out in the news. Like there's just a million different ways that those ideas can come to you. But really that is the crux, is starting with the interesting topic. Then from there, you start adding all the bells and whistles. You start figuring out how are you going to say it, and then how we go through this in the course of how you draft the initial script, how you start breaking it down, making it more interesting, and all of that. And then after that comes how are you going to visually make it entertaining, right? And it's not as, I know with my videos, they can get pretty more visually entertaining, I'd say, than others, and probably more than most people want to spend time on. And I can tell you, if you look at other TikTokers and people on social media, they don't do all the crazy special effects that we do, and they still get great views. So the reason for that is, the visual effects can help a little bit, right? And they can definitely move people along and help to explain maybe drier topics. But if you can really start with that interesting topic, you could be just spouting at the phone, or you could just do a quick transition looking to the side or something, as you've seen other creators and people online do. So really, number one priority is finding something that people want to know about.
And that is number one. But then you also said you did 30 videos, right, in a month before you started to hit something, right? So did you do 30 different topics, or was it the same topic 30 different times, or was it a few topics a few different times each?
It was spreading
That's a
around.
lot of content. That's a lot of topic ideation. That's a lot of, that's a lot, right? So just
there was definitely different formats and ways we were trying. We tried story times. We tried different, here's like top 5 of this, best tips, like all different ways to kind of figure it out. And then I can tell you that, just because those ones didn't work until like one did, doesn't mean that those ones didn't work. The algorithm is kind of like no one can really say what happens. And I can promise you that sometimes the same video, maybe posted at a different time, could do much better, right? So it's hard to know for sure what's going on there, which is why you want to just focus on, like, are you personally believing that you're bringing out content that people will find valuable, that it seems to get the point across as short as possible, because that's the name of the game, and just keep doing it consistently. Because I think more than anything, than it being like, oh, that was the right topic or that was the right thing, it was more like we just kept pushing out different things until we saw something. And it's that consistency that really got us, to make it to the next level, more so than like, we just thought of the great topic that day,
So you started, right? And like, I'm really trying to unpack this starting point, because I think this is where the majority of people are stuck, starting, right? And starting and then staying consistent with it. So I'm just trying to understand, like, especially like the thinking, the timing and stuff like that. So you started, you got some topics, now you're doing your production. How long was each, like, especially for the first ones, right? How long had you spent in preparing a script, for example, compared to then, recording the videos, and then basically all the editing of the TikTok videos?
I should racking my brain to think back that far because it was different. I was like working. I think I got off work at like 6 p.m. and then I would, go and film after that till like midnight or 1 a.m. So it was pretty crazy at the time. That's why I had to end up leaving my family's firm, because I couldn't do both. But I think what I had planned back then was like 2 half days, maybe it was 1 half day and 1 full day of filming. And then the rest of the week was kind of trying to find time to script. Sometimes I would script that day. But the scripting was where the majority of the time was spent. It was really, again, it comes down to what you're saying, right? You could have, unless you're going to just post like really cool visual effects and not say anything, which some people do, and it works for them. In this kind of platform where you're trying to get leads or you promote your business in some sense, or your specialty, you've got to start with like making sure your message is succinct, that it's valuable, and that is where your time needs to be spent. Then you get into like, oh, well, maybe we should film it in this area because we're talking about trains. We'll film it near a train station or something, like whatever it is. You can find little things to do to add a little extra dimensions to it, but that's all secondary.
Interesting. So just the scripting, which is really interesting, right? Because I think, when a lot of people think about, hey, I'm going to start, doing something on TikTok or this or there, especially from a video perspective, they just start recording a video, right? And then they edit it later, right? And what you're saying is, no, start with the topic, script the topic, try and make it interesting, fun, right? But this is the points which you want to get across. Think about kind of how you can make this entertaining as well. Figure out your personality, figure out, how do you want to be?
Yeah.
Who is you? Who are you? And, who are you, like, if like it was just you with no fear